Don't cry. Men don't cry. Chin up. Don't talk like a woman. Don't cry like a woman. You need to be tough. Toughen up. Don't be a sissy. Why? Why is that we expect men to express lesser? Shouldn't expression be a genderless property? I have a story to share. Say a quote that I came across in a study. Say a story that echoes in various stories that I hear in my therapy room. Right? The story of Mr. Z. I needed to get lots of courage together to tell a friend of mine, and I kind of said, I think I'm depressed. And he's like, that's a shame. And it didn't really go anywhere, I felt like I invested, put myself out there on a limb and built up. Had to really sort of build myself up to struggle to get the words out, even to say the actual words. And it sort of came out real sort of bland, and it probably didn't sound like much, but it didn't really go anywhere. I guess because beyond just saying I'm depressed, you kind of need to talk about it more than that. Z's case helps us understand how difficult it was for him to express his emotions, and though he did, he failed to capture the real feelings and the depth of it, right? And we could see that his efforts were blocked by the unreceptive response from his friend, and it made him only feel unsafe to go further. And the blocking of emotional connection among men can it can cause further consequences for men's mental health, right? And over here, he was left feeling embarrassed and ashamed for expressing his feelings of unhappiness, which goes against the unstated hegemonic masculinity practice of being self-sufficient. A heterosexual study revealed that men depend on their partners for confiding and emotional support. But some men find it difficult even to seek support from their partners because other genders feel petrified when men open up. We are just not used to it, right? And even other genders tend to react inappropriately or respond inappropriately, right? This is because of the conditioning we go through. We are taught or conditioned of as children, right? Studies reveal that male babies cry more than female babies. Infant boys experience various emotions and are much more expressive until they start learning, they start observing and modeling adult behaviors, their parents, until they start becoming receptive of the messages that their parents share about emotional displays. That is where the hampering happens. We are practicing and continuing to teach the age-old sex role theory. Drawing on sex role theory, a study argues that men's social support networks are limited because discussing emotions or seeking support is seen as something against traditional male role expectations, right? And stereotypes position men as problem solvers and doers rather than listeners and talkers. And adherence to the traditional male role limits men's perception to see the availability of social support, especially emotional support. This can lead to various issues, leaving them thinking that they need to go it all alone, that they need to cope on their own, which can leave them with a lot of stress, loneliness, higher chances for depression and anxiety, right? And also physical conditions because of carrying much chronic tensions, right? A 2005 study reveals that distressed men were desperately in need and they really wanted social connection with friends and family and support from friends and family, but they refrained from seeking the same because they feared being judged. They feared being judged as unmasculine, weak, vulnerable, right? Which only left them in heightened risk of suicide. a few things we could hold in mind in order to stop the stereotyping. And as other genders, let us, hold this in mind in order to stop pushing men to these difficulties, right? The first and foremost point to remember is that these are all learned, right? These are learned behaviors, learned perceptions. We can always unlearn and relearn them, right? And the men, every time you're experiencing anger, right, try to ask yourself, what are the other emotions you're experiencing? Try to name the other emotions you're experiencing, right? And maybe ask yourself, is there a worry or sadness or anything else underneath to that anger, right? And notice what is the language you're using to yourself. Notice if you are limiting yourself from going ahead with your desires because of the preset learned role of yours, right? And let us keep in mind and let us start allowing young boys, infants, to explore various emotions. Let's try not to stopping them, right? And also let us try to create a safe space where men can express without having so much fear for judgment. These can help men from burying the emotions deeper. Don't suppress, express. It is okay to be weak. It is okay to cry. It's okay to be shattered. It's okay to seek help. It is okay to confide and express your emotions. None of these make you any less of a man. Thank you.